All right. Today we will wrap up the Linux part with a regular expression. Anyone here heard about this before? About this terminology, regular expression? So for those of you who heard about it or used it before, awesome. For those of you who never heard about it before, it's basically think of this as a way to match string. A lot of time it's used when you want to search. Sometimes you use it when you want to replace certain things with another, right? And before we begin, as usual, we'll go with the recap of Tuesday. We talk about how to define variable in a shell script. And to use a variable, you just use the dollar sign parenthesis wrapped around the variable name, right? In that case, it allows you to evaluate into a value. Uh, Computer science use a lot of these concepts. You have a symbol, and then the symbol can evaluate into a value, right? Programming actually revolves around that concept. If you go into the future classes, we'll kind of expand onto this and talk about in general how does the program actually uh, be designed, like how do you design a program, what are the elements in there. But in shell script, right, basically to declare the variable, you use the equal sign to assign a value to a variable. And when you use the variable, just put the dollar sign. Uh, dollar sign with certain symbol will give you a special variable, like dollar sign pound will give you the number of arguments. Dollar sign zero will give you the name of the script you run. 1, 2, 3 would be whatever comes next. In this case, with cat a.text, b.text, c.text. Dollar sign zero is cat. Dollar sign one is a.text. Dollar sign two is b.text, and dollar sign three is c.text. And dollar sign star and dollar sign at basically would list out the command line arguments. You can put quotation around it as well in case you want to use that quotation afterward. You can also use dollar sign question mark to see what's the exit status of the last command or the last program you run. There's also a conditional statement where you can compare numerical value and string. For some of you who use things like -f when you compare, it's also another useful tool when you want to use conditional like if else. These would check if the file is there or not, right? So you can Google condition like shell conditional statement, and it would have the options of things you can put in. You can also use for loop as well as a while loop. And with that, we're gonna now transition into regular expression, which allow you to do a lot of things when you develop your own code. So why do we care? These allow you to process string in Linux. Stress on in Linux, in the OS itself, not when you program or when you code your things, your program in Java, C, or Python. This is in Linux itself, which allow you to do some of the string processing, which means that you can be more lazy, even more lazy, right? So one of the command that we use is grep, right? Grep takes regular expression as a keyword to search, and it has many variations. To show you the benefit of grep, in the meantime, while I'm talking, I'm gonna go back to my desktop as well, and you might hear some typing. I'm gonna open up Putty so that I can show you some sample of doing grep. I just want to make sure I have this Windows on this monitor, so whenever I share, I can basically allow you to see the screen. All right, so I'm back on this my laptop. So coming back to our lecture, grep has many variations, right? You can do simple search with a pattern, and you can add the basic regular expression. You can add -e, which would extend that regular expression into the extended version. You can do fgrep. Sometimes grep search a lot of file. How many of you try searching all the file on your computer before? How many of you have done that? Like, anyone use Windows and use that search button before? Have you ever wondered why does it take so long? It kind of have to go through like all your file structure, so it does take a while, right? Think about the grep command. Grep is not the same as find a file. Finding a file use a file name. Grep basically go through every file in the directory that you want to search every file for the text, right? For the text. So that can take even longer. So you can use fgrep. If you have a huge directory, you can use fgrep to make sure it's faster. It's a faster grep, but it can only handle certain patterns. So it's less powerful in terms of things you can search. You can also search inside a compressed file using cgrep. And here's some example, right? If I have a file, and this is the content of the file. So over here is the content of the file. And I want to search for all the lines that has the word man in it, right? How many of that word are here? Let us go through this text, right? You can find the word man here. Man here. And do I miss anything? I feel like there are more here. Am I missing any lines here? Are there more man? Are there more of the word man in this box of text? Actually, I don't know. So let's check because my slides have that laid out. So when you put in the command grep man file, it would go through this file and search for the line that has the word man in it. For example, yeah, I did miss it. Oh, no, actually, it's this line, right, that goes here. These lines go here. So when you run the command, you will get these three lines printed out for you. It basically will output, right, output that line that match the string, that line that actually match your string. And the thing that is so powerful about grep is it doesn't have to be this exact string, right? It can be more flexible. For example, what's the plural version of man? What about the female version of man? So yes, so basically, what if you just want to search for either man, men, women, and woman, right? Basically, the full version of the word is all plausible. What you can do is to tie regular expression to this. You can use egrep, for example, to allow extended regular expression. So you can use dash e as well or egrep. And if you in this case say, hey, I want to search for the word either with the word family, the single word, like the singular version of the word, the word family, or families, the plural version of the word, right? With the input file, you can do this. This is basically or family or families, and put in the input file. It would actually now search for either occurrence of the um, family or families. And there's a question on the chat saying how many can we put in? You mean how many patterns? Is that the question? Basically, how many different patterns can we put in? Yeah. Is there a limit? No, there's no limit. As long as it's a legit regular expression, it's okay. So you can put in any pattern that you want and tie that to the command, right? So let's go through what are the different patterns that you can search, right? This is really, 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 really powerful. Powerful enough that it actually becomes one lecture for you guys. So here's an example. You can use it to search one or more. When I said more, it's unlimited, as long as you put in whatever pattern you want to search. It's used in many programming languages. You can use it in other languages outside of Linux as well. And you can specify what you want to search. Basically, these are pattern matching. Right? These are basically pattern matching. The syntax of the regular expression determine what are the pattern. So it comes with some syntax that you have to, well, to be honest, Google, right? It's not like you have to remember everything here, but it's good to know a little bit about some of the basic syntax. So when you want to search, you know exactly how you will search. The first thing is what we call anchor. What is anchor for in life? Like, what do we use it for? It's used to hold the ship, right? To make sure that the ship stays still and not moving with the current, right? An anchor in the text can be represented by either this hat symbol or the dollar sign. And this is how you use it. When you have the hat symbol in front of a letter, it means that it would have to start with that pattern. For example, hatter, right? Hatter means that any string that starts with the THE, exactly that three letters. The dollar sign is used for ending. END dollar sign means that any string that ends with the letter END. So if you want to make sure this is the word you want to search, you can do hat and end with dollar sign. This is exact string that have to start with the end with the letter N and nothing else in the middle because you didn't specify what goes in the middle. Roar, for example, is there's no anchor, so any string that has the text roar in it, right? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? So this kind of govern what does a string have to start with and what does a string have to end with. And when I say string, it's like one line of the text when inside the file. All right, now we are going somewhere. Now we know how to specify pattern for starting word, ending word. Let's go to quantifier. You have seen this thing before, but it's a little bit different in here. It's quantifier. What is quantifier? What does it mean? What does it mean for me to quantify something? Is to kind of like count, right? So this tell you how many of that letters that you want. For example, a star mean it would tie to the letter next to it. In this case, C star. C star means that it is the pattern AB, right? Followed by 0 or more of the letter C. Again, it's a quantifier. It's not a wildcard that you seen earlier. This quantify how many occurrence of the letter C that you want from here. Plus, a little bit different. Instead of 0 or more, it's 1 or more. So over here, the string AB would match. The string ABC would match. This over here, and ABCC would also match. But over here, AB will not match. It needs 1 or more. So it's going to be ABC, ABCC, and anything more than 1 C's. Question mark is either 0 or 1, so it would match AB and ABC and nothing else. If you want to specify how many in particular, use this curly bracket. So C curly bracket 2, it means A, B, C, C. There are 2 C's. Curly bracket 2, comma, and nothing in the afterward means that 2 or more. So curly bracket basically X and Y, right? This is the minimum. This is the maximum of that letters that you want to have in your string. So if you have 2 to 5, it's basically 2 up to 5 C's. And then the next thing you might have in terms of like what up with this, right, is using that to tie to one letter is not that useful. Can I use it in sequence of letters? You can use parentheses for this. So A parenthesis BC star means that I want to search the pattern that has the letter A, followed by 0 or more copies of B and C. A, B, C, you can use with the curly bracket as well. In this case, it's letter A followed by 2 to 5 copies of this pattern BC, right? Any question about the quantifier before you go to the next thing? So the next thing is what you've seen earlier, the OR operator, the family of families, right? So you can do A and then in bracket B or C. Basically, this either mean A, B or A, C. You can use this type of bracket for the OR as well. So you can do A and then B or C. Same thing. It will match either AB or AC. And then with this, you can use things in combination, with the OR. For example, if you do ABC in this type of bracket, it's either an A or a B or a C. This is going to be the same as A or B or C. This, you can use dash to basically go faster. Like you type in A dash C, right? If you do bracket A dash C, it basically means any lowercase letter or alphabet, basic alphabet, right? So if you want to get, for example, a hexadecimal number, right? Hexadecimal number, which go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10 is represented with letter A, 11 is letter B, 12 is C, D, E, and F is 15, right? So in that case, you can do this. A through F, or A, capital A to F, or 0 to 9, right? You can then match with another pattern. For example, 0 to 9% means that it's a string from 0% to 9%. So this would match 0%, 1%, 2%, up to 9%. You can also tie that to a hat or an anchor. In this case, if the string is not beginning with, right? If you want beginning with, you need to actually put this, right? If you want to have it beginning with this letter, you have to put it outside of the bracket. In this case, it's inside the bracket. Inside the bracket, it means is a negation. This basically means that anything but A or C to A or C. Any question so far? So you have a way to have the or, like this pattern or this pattern, and not anything but this pattern. Any questions so far? Okay, so let's go through a little bit more things. Class of character, right? You can say, hey, I want certain digit or word, right? So you can do backslash D. Backslash D mean any single character that is a digit. Again, single character. When you have backslash in regular expression means I'm gonna escape the particular letter backslash. These allow you to put in special symbol like D, for example, backslash D mean one digit. Backslash W is a word character. Basically, this means A to C or capital A to capital C or the underscore. Have underscore in there as well. And it has to be a character as well. S is a white space, right? Things like spacebar, tabs, line break, new line, like one more line will also match backslash yes. Dot will match any character. Dot is any character. So if I say dot is any character, what does dot star mean in regular expression? Can someone tell me what does dot star mean? Match everything, right? Because it is any character for any number of character. So it can be anything, right? Capital letter D in this case would match a single non-digit character. For example, slash D again single non-digit character. When you have the uppercase, it means not of that. So uppercase S is not a white space. And if you do, yeah, sure. If you do grep, right? Dot star dash E, right? Dot star, it basically would print the file for you because it matches everything, right? Then it would print the whole file. So let's go through some example. What does this do? Hat pound dot star. What does hash pound dot star mean? Anyone? Any takers? So it's anything that begin with the pound key. Yeah, anything that begin with a pound, like pound symbol. What about data file 029 plus backslash dot text? Yeah, pound isn't a regular expression symbol. It's just a character. I mean, a part of the string. So what about this? So it would match any string that has data file with some pattern dot text. What is that pattern? And some number. Exactly. Any number, right? Any number of the numbers in there. It can be data file 0 dot text. It can be data file 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 9 and 1, 0 dot text. How about this? Yeah, maybe it's doing one thing at a time is probably easier here. The left side and the right side. And by the way, these are totally legit things I can ask you on a quiz. It's actually not a single digit because I have the plus here. It's actually the whole integer class, right? Because this thing cover the positive, right, number and also the negative number. Why? It's basically either minus sign or no minus sign. 0 or 1 occurrence of the minus sign followed by any number. So this is basically integer class. What about this? Yeah, floating point number. So any number that can be 0.0, negative 0.0, 0.1, 0.2, 0. Any number, 2, 2, 2, 2, right? This is easy, right? So this is any string that begin with my name. This is any string that begin and end with my name, right? Okay, so now these are some use of some example of how regular, what's a pattern inside regular expression. The next thing I need to teach you is, well, now we know regular expression, how do we use it? One of the useful command, this is actually part of in class 3, I believe, is the set command. The set command stands for stream editor. Stream editor basically would go through your text. It's a text editor that you can, instead of like open a text editor program and type things in, you can do set and the pattern. It will perform editing operation on the information from the standard input or your file, right? So you can type things in and use the set command as that as an input, or give them a file, and it will edit line by line automatically for all the lines you have in the file. In other words, this is like open a file, search, and replace. Open a file, search, and replace. And here are how you use it. Set followed by the command with some options. You can do man set to see what are the options, and then put in the file at the end. For example, if I have that old input file that has the word man, right? Remember that big paragraph that I show you? What will happen if I type in this? I'm gonna go match G is global. Do it for the whole file. It replaces man with women, right? Basically, would now go through the file and change man to women. What about this? The same input file, but I'm gonna do this pattern. When I say in the set, when this and would basically sorry, it basically do replace with the pattern you match here. So this is basically, I'm gonna replace any occurrence of the 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 word that end with ing. For example, single, feeling, entering, surrounding. And I'm gonna put parentheses around this. I'm gonna put parentheses around this matching word. And basically means the matching word. So in this case, you see, oh, okay, that's a word S and then ing. So I'm gonna put the parentheses around it. Entering, surrounding, feeling, right? Oh, the slash. So the pattern in the set, right? This part is the find part. This part is the replace part. And this part is the option that you can put in. So it does have options on the front at the end, and then you find, that's the second thing, and replace it with the third thing. Any questions? Basically, the slash is kind of like separate out the options that you want to put in for the set command. So, oh, option S. Actually, let me double check just to be safe here. And save. Ah, S is basically it basically said these are regular expression. So when you have S here, it means that these things that I'm trying to replace is a regular expression. The A2, so this, right? This is basically capital letter A to capital letter C, or capital letter A to like lowercase, my bad, lowercase a to lowercase c. Oh, okay. By default, right? By default, when you use this, there's no need for or. So you can do A to C, that's one pattern, and you put in A to C, another pattern there. Otherwise, you can do A or B or C or D or blah, 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 like quite a lot. So it's more convenient. Like personally, I typically use this bracket rather than the vertical bar, unless it's only like 5 letters. Right? Those are easy. Or if it's like family or families, those are clear. So I'll just use the vertical bar. So if it's one word or another word, vertical bar is more convenient. If it's a pattern, that this pattern or this pattern, the bracket is more convenient. Right? Okay, any more questions? So the next thing we can talk about is the cut command, right? The cut command is not cut and paste to some extent, but it's extract a column of data. It's extract a column of data, and here are the options, right? And actually, let me go through an example. Basically, it's cut with some options and then the file. So let's go through some examples, probably way more clear. So let's say this is the file. This is your input file. I can do cut dash D, F dash F. This is the column I want, right? And then 1, 3. When you do this, right? When you do this, it first go through the dash D option. Dash D means that use the delimiter. Anyone know what is delimiter? Basically, to tell the column, you need to figure out how do I know these are the entry in my column. Yes. So it will say, hey, it's gonna be A, B, C, like three columns that way, right? Instead of using tab. Because by default, you would do tab, 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 tab. Every time you have a tab, it's a new column. In this case, you say, hey, don't do that. Use the comma as a column. Then you cut and only keep column 1 and 3. So you will get this. You will get this as a result. And any questions so far before we go to the next command? Then the next command is trim. Oh, not trim. Translate. Whenever I say tr, I always say trim. The translate command. The translate command change a certain character to another character. It's as simple as this. tr string 1, string 2. Example here is again this input file. Can someone tell me what does this do? The less than sign. Remember our second lecture? Exactly. It doesn't output to the input file, but if it's less than sign, basically it's like take this, feed it as an input. So it would take it and use the input file as an input to the trim command. And the trim command will say any occurrence of 1, replace it with 4, 2, replace it with 5, 3, replace it with 6. And remember, you can use regular expression on this as well if you want. But in this case, an exact match, right? So in this case, the occurrence of 1 changed to 4, 2 changed to 5, 6 changed 3 changed to 6. Sorry about speaking too fast. Basically, now it translates 1 to 4, 2 to 5, 3 to 6 on any occurrence of that in my input file. This is another way you can manipulate your string. Another example is, what will this do? What will this do? Slash n with new line. So what will this do? Can someone tell me what's the output? Yeah, it's replace new line with comma. So basically now you have one single line, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, right? And let's assume there's a new line here. So, right, so there's a new line here, new line here. So that's why it's another comma at the end, right? So a quick note on the input and output file, right? What's wrong with this? This is basically to do with have something to do with this pipe, right? This is a pipe. This is like last few slides. What's wrong here? What am I trying to do here? So can someone tell me what am I trying to do here? Is command 1, command 2, and command 3. It takes the word in some file and translate, right? It translates the word and output to another file. The problem, notice how this is the same exact file. It's the same file, right? So what will happen to this? You're trying to read the file and write to the file at the same time. What will happen? Yeah, it's gonna be weird, right? It depends on it actually depends on what happened and what time does the trim command start to forward the output to the same input file. This would cause an error. So don't do this. What you want to do, because in this case you are manipulating the same file. So whenever you want to read and write to the same file, use a temp file. So you do the first command and put it in a temp file. Put it in a temp file so that when it's done, you can move it back. So basically use a temp file as a middleman to make sure that the first command finish writing to the temp file, and the second command can read the temp file later, and then you move it after you're done. You move it back to the original file after you're done. So it's the same exact thing you want to do, but safer. It's the same exact thing, but safer. And that's it for regular expression. You can check out. Actually, there's many resources on regular expression. Uh, I actually, to be honest, what I would recommend: Google regular expression cheat sheet. This is probably the most. Oh, let me go back one step. There's a question. Is there any reason why the name of the temp file is $1 and $? This is actually to be honest, this is actually a script, right? What does $1 do? It's the first argument of your input, right? So in this case, the first argument, you can make it this way. You can forward some file dot text as an input right here. Basically, at the end, you forward the sum file dot text, so it becomes the first input, right? Okay, so that's the example from I mean additional references. Before we go to in class 4, before you go, I'll go to in class 4. Let me do a quick demo. So let me change the monitor to my desktop, and I guess stop sharing on this laptop. And I'm gonna go to my desktop here. Share this screen. Can you see my screen? Okay, so let me change the font size a little bit. So for those of you who use Putty and you want to change the font size, you go click here, click change setting. Over here, go to appearance, and you can change the font size. Bold 20 should be much better. Yeah. And for those of you again who use Putty, sometimes things will disconnect at certain interval. If you don't want that to happen, you go to connection SSH. Connection here, not SSH, like click on connection. Put in this number. Any number is fine, the more the better, but don't get it too high. This basically would keep sending empty packet to the server saying, hey, I'm alive, don't cut me off. Otherwise, Putty will not send anything, because if you're not typing anything, literally not send anything to the server. The server thinks that you are zombie connection and it would cut you off. So if you don't want to get cut off after you like leave your keyboard for like 5 minutes, put some number in there in seconds. So I put in 2 minutes, which is 120 seconds. It allowed me to basically log in. So let me go through what should we go here? Data lab. This is nope. Okay. So in this folder from the demo we all did earlier, we have this I have a cat, right? We have this I have a cat in multiple file in this demo folder. What if I want to grab, right, for the word cat, but everything in here? One thing I can do is I can do grab cat star. In this case, with search, as you can see, all the file in this directory, but it doesn't show what's in the folder directory banana. Right? There's also one more file in the directory banana. You can see that it shows where is the file, where is that file, and here. If you want to go through the folder structure, the directory structure as well, type in -r. Now it will actually go through all the directory that you want to search, and it would search for that exact match, right? You can do cat or cat, right? In this, whoop, sorry. What's wrong with this? Can someone tell me what's wrong with this? Yeah, it's actually treated like a part of the string. So I didn't put the parentheses. So I believe if I do this, it should resolve itself. Still not going. Huh, interesting. How about if I do this? Oh, my bad. I didn't say it's a regular expression. Right? So -e will say that, hey, it's a regular expression, so I can do now. Sorry, you should add the option dash uppercase E. That would basically tell this is a regular expression, not the exact string. Then you can use a regular expression. So in this case, I can even do something like this. Again, or, right? It will also match the multiple pattern actually now, because you can see the highlights, right? Anything that has the letters A, C, and T, also the capital letter C, would now match. Now you can see why I want to use the vertical or for the letter I want to have here, which is will then map back to just this string or this string. The bracket is more useful if you want to use the character. Otherwise, everything that goes in there, it becomes a character. Okay, any questions? Let me double check the chat. Same here. Okay. So if there's no more question, please go through the in-class exercise 4. In the in-class 4, we will ask you to match certain string. It also asks you to also sign up for this website called HackerRank, where you can basically sign up and solve the question. It's a question that we use for this class for a long time, and it's a good practice for regular expression. Please go there and complete this. We will move to Discord, the Discord session from now. We have about 1 hour, which should be just enough time to finish everything in class 4. All right.